Hello there! Welcome to my channel. My name is Francisco. I'm a music and guitar teacher and I've been teaching for around 10 years already. Welcome to my channel, and this video is going to be about the topic of what is a teacher. I like to delve into these more philosophical topics. What is exactly a teacher and what is the job of a teacher? And I've been meditating a lot on that, thinking a lot about that, and I would like to make a video expressing my thoughts on that. Let's say you have the objective of making a trip from Portugal to China, and you want to meet Chinese culture and you want to travel to China, and you ask me, the teacher, for some advice and for tips to travel to China. Well, what is actually the job of a teacher? What is he going to tell you? Actually, the job of teaching and learning is not as straightforward as people think, because people have an objective in mind. Let's say they want to go to China. They want to go to China, and I will tell them, well, maybe you should book a flight to go to China. And they're like, no, I don't want to book a flight. I want to walk all of the way. And I'm like, well, if you're gonna walk all the way and that's really your objective, then you must learn about shoes. Maybe which shoes should you use in such a long walking trip? Maybe the shoes that you use for going to the bakery in your street is not the same shoes that you're gonna use for going to China walking. And I'm using this example because this example happens in music a lot. People are like, do I need to learn a specific technique? Do I need to learn how to read notes? Do I need to learn this? Well, depends on your objective. If you want to go to the bakery, you don't need some specific kinds of shoes or whatever, you know? But if you have some concrete goal and that goal is very demanding, then yes, you may need to learn some technique. You may need to practice some technique. But if your objective is just to learn some few songs, easy songs, maybe technique will not be a priority in your learning experience. And I think a teacher must advise the student and guide him in the right direction. Well, if the student just wants to go to the bakery, why is he going to spend hours searching for good shoes? Well, he shouldn't. That's just a waste of time. But if he wants to go to China on food, well, then you should research shoes, you know? And maybe because you're going to China, you may need to search how to make a tent. And he's like, but I just want to go to China, I don't want to learn how to make a tent. And I'm like, yes, but if you are going on such a long trip and you don't have so much money, then maybe there is a skill, which is you need to know how to set up a tent. And then they give the example of a friend that, oh, but he did a trip and he didn't set up a tent. He's like, yes, but maybe he slept in his car. Do you have a car? If you have a car, then yes, maybe you don't need to learn to set up a tent if you plan on sleeping all the time in a car. The personal situation varies a lot. This is a discussion that I have all the time with my students about learning music theory, about delving more specifically into technique, because I don't want them to go through something that they don't really have to. My idea is that if you have a passion for learning, learning will take you to lots of different roads. Maybe while you are going in your trip to China, you may find a river, and this river has water, and then you need to know if this water is drinkable or not, and if it's not drinkable, how to make it drinkable. And then maybe you are learning about filtration systems. But when you started the journey, you had no idea that you needed to learn about filtration systems. You just want to learn about Chinese culture. That was your goal. But maybe you have to ask the opinion of an engineer about a good filtration system. If you are going around and you plan on drinking water from a river. So, learning is a journey, and in your journey you might have to learn some things that you planned not to learn. And not learning those things might be catastrophic for you. So let's say you don't learn how to filtrate the water properly, then you will have stomach pains, and then you have to learn about how to fix stomach pains. Teaching is the process of guiding the person along this journey. The problem is that the teacher that prescribes some learning steps, you have to learn this and then that and then that, is a kind of generalization. We are basically generalizing. What might be good for one student might not be great for the other. Of course, there are some generical skills that I believe all people should learn. So, what is the job of a teacher actually? A teacher is someone that guides you in the right direction, but they cannot walk the path for you. And that's the main problem, is that sometimes we wish that someone could walk the path for us. But the thing is that the teacher cannot do the journey for you. The teacher can only guide you in the right direction, and sometimes during that journey you may have to learn some things that you didn't think that you needed to learn. The thing is that the teacher needs to be aware of all of these scenarios. He needs to be aware of these scenarios to guide the student properly and tell the student what is the way according to the objectives of the student. Because like I said, if the objective of a student is not going to China on foot but is going to the nearest bakery, then teaching the student how to build a tent, there is no point in that, right? You might say, but learning a tent is a useful skill, and that I agree 100% with you, that might be in handy. So it's always better to learn something than not learning something. That is, I cannot disagree with that statement. The thing is that usually if you have a concrete goal in mind and the thing that you have to learn is not directly connected to that goal, it might be a bit hard for people to find the motivation to learn that. So that is the thing, is how to find motivation to learn stuff. Well, you need to learn stuff that are connected to your goal. That's basically it. Because if that stuff is not connected to your goal, yes, you will have trouble finding motivation. Because actually you don't need that thing. Sometimes the teacher might say, look, we will have this problem when you go, like when you leave Portugal and you go to Spain, there is a city there, that there is this river and there is this filtration system that you have to use, and there is this antidote that will just clean the water and whatever, so we should pack everything and we should prepare everything for the trip. That is usually what many teachers do. They equip you with a lot of skills for your journey, but the problem is that then the student reaches there, they are faced with the problem and they forgot everything they learned. This is also a problem I've been facing while teaching, is that sometimes I'm preparing the students for something that will come up ahead, but the student is not really aware of what is the connection. So he's basically not engaged in the learning process because he's not seeing this connection. So sometimes, even though it's way more inefficient, is that as you go along the road, then you tackle the problem. Just translate this into the musical process. There are so many things to learn about music. Learning harmony, learning chords, learning the notes, learning the tablature system on the guitar, learning how to improvise. Do you need to learn all of these things? Well, depends on the journey that you're after the journey you're doing. Do you need to learn how to compose perhaps? Depends also on the musical journey that you're doing. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit rambly, but it was something that I wanted to address also to my future students or someone on the internet who is planning to have any kind of lessons. Those are a bit my thoughts on what a teacher is. You can drop your comments below. Lately I released 3 online courses. One about learning languages, that is just a fun activity that I do on the side. Another about learning the basics of guitar, and another about learning the basics of music theory and improvisation, because in my opinion these 2 things go hand in hand. So if you want to check out my courses, you can check my page. These courses, I wrote them for absolute beginners. So if you're already experienced, don't buy these courses because they are for beginners only. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I wish you all a nice day. Bye bye.